Welcome to Graveyard Mile, where the past never stays buried, and every story has a chill waiting for you. If you love late-night mysteries, haunted places, and spine-tingling legends, you're in the right place. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a walk through the shadows. Hazel Monroe, a quiet girl new to the foggy town of Ravenshade, followed strange laughter into the woods. There she met Labubu, a mischievous spirit with a grin too wide to be human. But as soon as the carousel at the abandoned fairground began to turn, something dark stirred beneath it. The ground heaved under Hazel's boots as the carousel groaned to life. Its cracked mirrors flashed with pale light, reflecting shapes that didn't belong to the human world. The wooden horses, long rotted and eyeless, began to move in slow, jerking circles. From beneath the platform came a whisper, hundreds of voices murmuring as one. They remember. Run. Labubu yanked her arm, surprisingly strong for his small frame. His fur bristled. The grin was gone now. His face had tightened into fear. Hazel stumbled after him through the thick fog. The whispers followed, growing louder, rising into a single wordless shriek. A gust of wind blew through the fairground, scattering dead leaves like paper wings. Hazel dared a glance back. Something long and black was crawling out from under the carousel, all limbs and shadow. "What is that?" she gasped. Labubu didn't answer. He darted toward the tree line, pulling her along, his glowing eyes slicing through the dark like twin lanterns. The fog closed around them. Behind, the carousel slowed and stopped, but the whispers lingered. By the time they reached the edge of the woods, Hazel could barely breathe. She felt her knees, gripping the earth. "What were those things?" she demanded. "Ghosts." Labubu tilted his head, ears twitching. "Forgotten," he said softly. "Not ghosts. Worse." They rested beneath an ancient oak whose roots coiled like sleeping serpents. The fog had thinned here. Above them, the moon broke through, pale and cold. Hazel looked at Labubu properly for the first time. He was strange, yes, but not frightening. His fur shimmered faintly in the moonlight, and his eyes seemed to hold entire stars. "You talk," she said, catching her breath. He nodded proudly. "Learning. From you." "You shouldn't be real," Hazel whispered. "Things like you're from stories." Labubu's grin returned, softer this time. "Stories are real. People just forget." He began tracing shapes in the dirt with a claw. Circles, spirals, symbols that looked like eyes and trees. Before, long ago, many Labubu, many friends, all forgotten now. Hazel frowned. "What do you mean?" He looked up, and his smile faded again. "When people forget, we fade. When they stop believing, we vanish." The words hit her like a stone. That's what the shadows were, the forgotten ones. He nodded. Left behind. No name. No memory. They hunger for being remembered again. Hazel felt a chill crawl up her arms. "They saw me." "Yes," Labubu said quietly. "Now they remember you." By dawn, Hazel and Labubu crept back to the house. The world was gray and heavy with dew. Margot was waiting on the porch, her shawl drawn tight around her shoulders. Her face went pale when she saw Hazel. "Where have you been?" she demanded. "You were in the woods, weren't you?" Hazel froze. Margot's eyes caught on the small creature behind her granddaughter. "Oh God," she whispered. "No." Labubu shrank behind Hazel's leg, his ears drooping. "You can see him," Hazel said, astonished. You know him? Margot's voice trembled. I hope never to again. Hazel, get inside. Now. Hazel refused to move. Tell me what's going on. What is he? Her grandmother stared at Labubu for a long moment, then at the forest. Finally, she sighed. Your father tried to protect them once, the spirits of this land. But the more he helped them, the more the forgotten came for him. That's why he disappeared. Hazel's heart sank. Dad knew Labubu? Margot nodded slowly. He believed. That's all it takes for their world to find you. Labubu's voice was soft. Daniel believed. He kept us safe. Until the hollow came. Hazel turned. The hollow. But before he could answer, a sharp crack echoed through the trees. A sound like breaking glass. The wind shifted. Something unseen moved in the forest, watching. Margot's face hardened. Inside. Both of you. That night, Hazel lay awake, candlelight trembling against her ceiling. Labubu sat at the window, staring out toward the woods. The hollow watches, he murmured. Hazel sat up. What is it? Labubu didn't look back. A king of nothing. He feeds on lost things, memories, names, hearts. Hazel shivered. Why does it want me? He turned his glowing eyes toward her. Because you believe. The candle flickered violently. For a moment, the flame bent toward the window as if pulled by something outside. A shadow passed over the glass, tall, thin, and crowned with branches. Labubu growled low in his throat. Hazel grabbed the candle and ran to the window, but when she looked out, there was nothing there. Only fog. From the hallway, her grandmother's voice called softly. Hazel, are you awake? Hazel opened the door. The hall was empty. Grandma, the voice came again, closer. Hazel. It wasn't her grandmother. Labubu leapt from the sill and hissed, pulling her back. No, listen, he warned. Not her. The whisper came again, right beside her ear this time. A man's voice, gentle, familiar. Hazel, it's me. Her breath caught. Dad. A tall shadow stretched down the hallway, its shape wavering like smoke. Hazel took a step forward before Labubu grabbed her arm. No, not him. Hollow wears faces. The shadow's mouth opened in a silent smile. Then it dissolved into the dark. Hazel fell to her knees. He sounded just like him. Labubu's grin was gone. That's how it eats. The next morning, Margot unlocked the door to her library, a small stone room at the back of the house that always smelled of dust and rain. If you're going to stay tangled in this, she said, you should understand it. Inside were shelves stacked with journals, old tomes, and jars filled with odd things. Feathers, dried leaves, tiny bones. On the far wall hung a wooden cabinet carved with dozens of names. These, Margot explained, are the remembered ones. Every time a creature's name is spoken, it's written here. It keeps them alive. Hazel traced one of the carvings with her finger. Labubu. The letters glowed faintly beneath her touch. Labubu wagged his tail, pleased. Still here, he said. But what about the others? Hazel asked. The forgotten. Margot's expression darkened. Those names have already faded. Hazel clenched her fists. Then we should remember them again. Maybe that will help. Margot shook her head. The Hollow King controls the forgotten now. Remembering them might only draw him closer. Hazel looked at Labubu, who stared at the floor, his ears drooping. But if nobody remembers, they're gone forever. Margot didn't reply. That evening, Ravenshade vanished under a heavy blanket of fog thicker than any Hazel had seen. The street lamps flickered and went out. From the woods came faint laughter, children's voices echoing. Labubu stiffened. "They're coming." "Who?" Hazel asked. "The ones who forgot themselves." Figures began to appear in the fog, silhouettes with no faces, wandering aimlessly. Their whispers filled the air like static. Hazel backed toward the porch. "We have to hide." Labubu shook his head. "No hide. Must remember." Before she could protest, he jumped into the fog, his golden eyes glowing. Hazel hesitated, then followed. The air was thick and cold, full of whispers that brushed her skin like cobwebs. She could barely see Labubu ahead. The faceless figures turned toward her as she passed. One reached out, its hand soft as paper. "Help us," it whispered. Hazel's heart twisted. "I can't." Labubu called back. "Say their names if you know them." "I don't know any," she cried. "Then make one." She took a breath. Your name is Clara." The faceless figure stopped. Slowly, faint features began to form. Eyes, a mouth, a tear. The others turned toward her, voices rising in a chorus of need. Hazel shouted name after name. Clara, Ben, Alice, Thomas. And with each word, the fog shimmered, thinning slightly. The figures began to dissolve into light. Labubu laughed, spinning in circles. "You remember, you make real." But then the air changed. The laughter died. A deep rumble echoed through the woods. The fog turned black at its edges, swirling like a storm. From the trees emerged the Hollow King. He was taller than any tree, his body made of shadow and memory, his head crowned with antlers of bone. In his chest burned a hollow circle where a heart should be. His voice was everywhere and nowhere. "Belief," he said, each syllable rattling the ground. Sweet, fragile belief. Hazel froze, unable to breathe. Labubu stepped in front of her, teeth bared. "You stay away." The Hollow King tilted his head. "You keep her alive, little spark. You should have faded long ago." Hazel found her voice. "You took my father, didn't you?" The creature's grin widened. He remembered too much. The shadows at its feet reached forward, wrapping around Hazel's boots. Labubu slashed at them, claws sparking light. The forest shook. Margot's voice rang out from the distance, strong, commanding. "Hazel, the lantern!" Hazel turned to see her grandmother running toward them, holding a glass lantern glowing with blue fire. She hurled it to the ground. The flame burst outward in a wave of light, slicing through the fog. The Hollow King recoiled, hissing, "This is not over." And then he was gone, dissolved into the mist. The fog slowly lifted. The faceless figures were gone too, leaving only silence. Hazel stood trembling in the clearing, the lantern's light flickering weakly beside her. Margot approached, breathless. "You saw him," she said quietly. Hazel nodded. "He knows me now." Labubu looked up at her, his grin small and uncertain. "He knows us both." Margot placed a hand on Hazel's shoulder. "Then we'll have to remember faster than he can forget." Hazel glanced toward the forest, where faint laughter echoed again. Not cruel this time, but sad. She whispered, "I won't let him take anyone else." Labubu smiled faintly, the glow in his eyes soft. "Then maybe there's hope again."